Hi, welcome to Paranormal Captivity. Tonight I want to tell you about the Enfield Horror. In a small town called Enfield in Illinois, in the United States, there's a town near the Shawnee National Forest, and some weird stuff happened that involved a lot of different people encountering basically a creature that's been commonly referred to now as the Enfield Horror. The area has already had a mysterious history behind it. The Indians that originally were settled there felt like that area was sacred. The settlers that came in felt like it was cursed. So already you know there were some weird vibes and different things happening in the woods in this area. And the settlers started to refer to it as the Devil's Kitchen. And the reports of the woods from this area involved hearing weird footsteps, seeing things, hearing screams, balls of light floating through the woods, shadows, apparitions, and creatures and monsters that they had never encountered anywhere else. On April 25th in 1973, a guy named Henry McDaniel, who lived in Enfield, heard a weird sound outside of his house. What he heard just sounded like scratching at the door. So he went and looked out his window to see what was at the door. He saw a 4.5 to 5 foot high creature with gray skin, 3 legs, small short arms coming out of like the chest area, and eyes that were huge and pink and the size of flashlights. So Henry did what I'm sure probably a lot of other people would do as a response. He ran and got a pistol, kicked down his own front door, and started shooting at it. And he says he knows he hit it because he could start hearing it hissing as it bounded away. I say bounded because, according to him, in 3 jumps, it was 75 feet away from his house. And then it ended up by an embankment where railroad tracks were, and it disappeared into some brush. So he phoned the cops and wanted to make a formal report on what he'd encountered. They came up, they inspected the land, and they actually did find footprints about the areas where he said it would have landed. And they said they looked like dog prints, but they had 6 toe pads, and each set got a little tiny bit smaller as it got further away. The investigators who came and spoke to him discovered that about 30 minutes before, one of the neighbors had an encounter with something. A kid named Greg Garrett was playing out in his yard about half hour before, and he ran into his house screaming, and he was hysterical, and he told his parents that a creature landed on his foot and hurt him, and when they looked at his shoes, they were ripped to shreds. A little bit later, on May 6th, Henry woke up in the middle of the night hearing the neighborhood dogs freaking out. So he went and looked out his windows, and he saw the creature again. This time it wasn't near his house, it was already up by the railroad, and it was kind of slowly making its way down the tracks. So he figured if it was doing its own thing and it wasn't messing with him, he wasn't going to shoot at it this time. Now, all of these reports started to become more and more popular, and people in nearby towns started to travel there to basically monster hunt. There were groups of people going fully armed and shooting at things that they assumed were this creature. And there was a group that said that they did shoot at it, and that when they hit the creature, it ran away faster than anything they'd ever seen run away. After a while, some of the sightings even made their way to Indiana, and some people saw it around the Kokomo area. Shortly after it was spotted here, all of the reports and the sightings stopped, and no one's seen it since. No one knows if this was like a strange, popular story and people were so intrigued by it that they started to think they were seeing things also, or if this was actually like a creature that they saw with their own eyes or had experiences with. Since it only happened for that short period of time, you would think if it was something that was like a cultural phenomena and people wanted to be involved with it, that it'd still be happening, or at least would have happened for a longer period of time. Since it only happened then, there are a lot of people who wonder if it was something that's not originally from here. A lot of people say that the UFO activity from the area where it originated in Enfield all the way up to Kokomo had very similar UFO activity around those time periods, so people are assuming that maybe somehow those two things are linked. Another common theory is that it's something from another dimension, especially since the footprint sizes kind of changed as it jumped away. I feel like if it could shift in size, it might be able to shift in realities if that is a possibility out there. And some people think it might be something that's been here all along and it's some kind of undiscovered creature or possibly like an elemental spirit, if you believe in those kind of things. So what do you guys think? And do you think this actually is the thing? I love all of the artist renderings of what the Enfield Horror could look like. I think they are adorable and cool, and if I saw one, I'd probably freak out. Wouldn't shoot at it because I don't have a gun, but I would still be so excited. Like, I would probably just be like, oh my god, give me a camera, yes! I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about the Enfield Horror. If you did not, feel free to give this a thumbs down, that way I can know that for future content for you, but if you did enjoy hearing about it, please consider giving it a like. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. I do upload very frequently. I try and do it a minimum of 3 times a week. And be sure to leave your comments, because I do want to read your opinions on this, for sure. I'm Kat Davis, and this has been Paranormal Kativity. Have a strange day, guys. Bye!